Next with a question, and it goes first to Senator Claire McCaskill.
In the past 11 years, average prices for undergraduate tuition, room and board at public colleges and universities have risen 42%, according to the U.S. Department of Education. What specific policy do you propose as the most efficient solution to the declining affordability of public higher education?
Well, I would tell you that it's not to eliminate the Department of Education, and that's what Congressman Akin wants to do. As I just indicated in that rebuttal, I didn't need to use that time in that rebuttal if I'd known this question was coming. What we did is we took the middleman out of the student loans and took that cut they were making with no risk, because the federal government was backing those loans, and we took that money and increased the amount of the Pell Grants, which allows more kids to get to college. And this is the land of opportunity. This is where we believe that anybody can do anything, and that personal freedom is very important. But to get to that next rung of the ladder, there's a lot of families that can't get their kids to college. I don't want to shut that door for them. So it's important, I think, that we keep the Pell Grants in place. It's a big contrast between me and Congressman Akin. I think we also have to pay attention to student tuition. It is, I think, bad that we are not investing more in higher education at the state and local level. Unlike many others, I think we should raise the cigarette tax. I'm embarrassed that the cigarette tax is the lowest in the country. Our cigarette tax is 17 cents a pack. We could raise it by almost $1 and still be the cheapest cigarettes in the Midwest, and have that money go directly to help with higher education to keep those tuition rates down.
Jonathan Dine.
Education should be getting cheaper, not more expensive. With the advent of cheaper computers, electronics are more easily readable. I would like to open up the door for entrepreneurs to come into education. Our education system has become too rigid, and it doesn't allow for people to come in and offer a better service, a better product, but we need to look at why the reason tuition prices are raising. I believe that easy to secure government loans have actually increased the price of college. With kids receiving more money, college institutions have increased the price. If there wasn't as much money being lent out, college campuses would be empty and would be forced to lower the price of tuition. I think that greed has played a big price. I would like to work on investing in education. I think it is something that's important, but it should be done at the state and local level, not the federal government.
Todd Akin.
Well, thank you for a good question here. And this is one that really affects a whole lot of people. There was a young man in my office just the other day, and he said, "Wow, I'm glad I'm out of college, but I do owe $100,000, and I'm looking for a job." And I thought, how hard it is to try to save $100,000 for that undergraduate degree. How many years it's going to take to try to set that money aside. This is a big problem, and it's affecting a whole lot of people. But the question is then, why is it that college education is just spiraling up in its costs? Part of it is because of the government. When the government keeps getting into things, it affects the marketplace. And what's happening is the government is giving these loans and encouraging the prices to go up. And where does that stop? So we're putting people into an incredible vice by the government using more and more money to do things, killing jobs, and then facing kids with a completely impossible choice. Do you want an education, but you can't pay for it? So this is a real tension, but this is an example of us doubling down on failure. When the government gets into things, a lot of times it messes them up. The classic example is Freddie and Fannie and the entire economic mess we're in, which is created by the government deciding to get involved in home mortgages. How many more things do we want to inject the government in? They're the ones that are driving these costs, and we need to let a little free enterprise work.